my second haul video. My February haul turned into a big haul, more than anticipated. I got a little over 30 volumes. I blame Right Stuff. They were having a nice sale on their manga during Valentine's Day. The rest are from Books A Million, with the exception of one that I got for super cheap on Amazon. First up are all the volumes I got on Right Stuff. First manga is Devil and Realist, Volume 5. So far, I've only read a couple of volumes of this manga. Several of the first few volumes I got on the clearance shelf at my local Books A Million. It's definitely a series I intend to keep reading. This series is amusing to me in the way that, despite the obvious proof that Lion and those that follow are devils, yet William refuses to believe in their existence because science. And the art and the covers, just the colors, they're so vibrant. And I always looked forward to the next one because I'm like, okay, what's going to be this time? What colors are they going to use? What's the plot? And it just keeps me guessing, and I really like that. The next one is 10 Count Volume 3. I've been enjoying this title so far. The art is pleasing to the eye, and the plot is a little different from what I'm used to in the BL genre. Although something I noticed with the second volume of 10 Count was this weird censorship. It is similar to that of how Japan censors, but only with a white strip, which makes it look silly. I am aware Jumon gets censored, but it was never so awkward in my opinion. I found it to be too distracting. That aside, I've heard this is a longer series, so I'm curious to see where this manga will go. Alright, the next one is Smoking Parade Volume 3. When I first heard that the creators of Dead Man Wonderland had a new series coming out, I had to buy it outright, like automatically, in the cart, ready to go. I've loved the anime of Dead Man Wonderland, and I have readily enjoyed what volumes I have read of the manga. Although I am nowhere near done, but I still wanted to support their work because I love their art style and the way they tell a story. I was not disappointed from what I read in Volume 1. I love the characters immediately, and there are several to meet. Plus, while not exactly alike, it reminds me a lot of Repo the Genetic Opera, which is one of my favorite movies. Next one is Flying Witch, Volume 1. I've been hearing some good things about this series, so I decided to pick it up. I was a bit impatient that I started to watch the anime since it was taking a bit for my Right Stuff order to ship. And from what I gather, it is a very lighthearted and slice of life. As far as first impressions go, I find it very endearing. It's kind of slow burning as far as the anime goes, and I'm going to expect the same thing from this manga. But I'm hoping that I will end up liking it more as it goes on. But as I said, it may end up just being a lighthearted anime / manga, and that's okay with me. The next one is The High School Life of a Fendanchi. No, it's Fudanchi. I could be saying both wrong, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. I just sort of happened along this series in parts thanks to Crunchyroll. To be honest, I didn't even know there was a male counterpart to the female Fujoshi. It's a fun read thus far, though personally I think the main characters can be a little bit over the top, and to the point it can be a bit much at times. I'm hoping to see that die down as the series goes, and what I mean by that is that I feel like the main character doesn't always respect when someone doesn't want to be shipped with someone. And I think that's a big part of yaoi culture, is that happens a lot. And there's, not everybody does this, but it can be very uncomfortable when you don't want to be shipped with somebody. And people are obviously going around shipping you with people, and they don't take the hint, and that's very rude. I mean, it's fine to have your ships, but if someone tells you no, it means no. And a lot of the time, he's the one I'm talking about, because he gets shipped with a lot of people and he gets a lot of unwanted attention. And that's not okay. It's like, no means no. Learn it. It's a fun series though. That aside, if I can get past that part, it's fun. But that's my only grief. is Nameless Ostracism. This is a new year release by Seven Seas. I was quite surprised by how thick the volume was. Like, look at that. Apart from the omnibus releases, I don't see super thick Yuri manga. I don't know very much about this title, but I'm eager to give it a go. The art looks really cute and I adore the cover. Alright, next one up is a little bit of an older title of mine. It is The Art of Loving. It's another BL title, this time by one of my personal favorite mangakas, Iki. Her most well known is probably Love Stage, but my favorite of hers has got to be Dear Myself. I've been wanting to read The Art of Loving since I first heard of it, but something always came up and I kept pushing it back until recently when I learned it was on Right Stuff. Someone I follow on Instagram had gotten the volume, which reminded me of its existence. So I tried Right Stuff and lo and behold, they had it. I'm looking forward to reading this, and also I also gotta say, I have always preferred the bigger yaoi volumes to the smaller in size volumes that Sublime puts out. Next one, Monster Musume Volume 1. I watched the anime before picking up this title, mainly because I wanted to see how I would like it before buying the manga. Since the volumes aren't very big and are around $12 normally, despite the ecchi angle, it was tolerable due to the fact that there is such an array of characters that really make the series. Plus, I don't detest the protagonist, who actually seems to respect girls rather than seeing them as a piece of property, which is what I really don't like in ecchi animes or manga, because of the lack of respect for the main characters typically have for the females that are around them. Okay, next up, The Demon Prince of Momochi House, Volume 1. I kept seeing this everywhere, so I decided to give it a try. The plot seems promising and the covers are really gorgeous. They're just so vibrant. I really like the art style. And it kept popping up everywhere, so I'm like, okay, I will give it a go. Worst case scenario, if I don't like it, which I don't think that's going to be the case, then I could always, pass it on. But I think I'm really going to like it. Okay, the next one is Kana's Daily Life, Volume 1. I'm really looking forward to this series, in part because I love Miss Kobayashi, and this looks really cute and promising. And it's just, look at the back cover, it's just so cute, I can't even. This is just one of the series I love in general, like the series that came before it. And it was just really, it's really lively, it's fun, and I'm hoping to see similar elements in this. Alright, the next few I got were Sekaiichi Hatsukoi, volumes 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've always loved how Nakamura creates multiple couples and has them interacting within the same world. Plus, her covers are always so colorful and a delight to look at. And the characters she creates draw me in, even if they aren't my main fave out of the three, which I feel says something in itself. While I'm not 100% sure that her depiction of a manga publishing company are accurate, I like her take on it at best. It's interesting to see a side of a company you normally wouldn't. Alright, this is the next one. Love Makes Everything Right. This was just a blind box buy, so I don't know anything about it. I was just happy not to get a repeat of something I already had. It looks like a one-shot and it was cheap, so I can't complain. Now, that's all right. That's all I got from my Right Stuff haul. Now on to Amazon. Alright, Murcielago Volume 5. I've just really enjoyed the series. It's crazy. Each cover is beautiful, is a beautiful contrast between light and dark. It's got a mature rating as a lot of the content has blood and gore, plus sexual themes. Most of the ones I've gotten are covered in saran wrap, so fair warning, if you don't like this sort of content, this probably isn't for you. 10 Count Volume 4. This is another BL title pickup of mine. I've talked about the third in my Right Stuff haul a little bit ago, so I won't go into a lot of detail here. Though I'm not a huge fan of the covers all that much, while the art is really catching, the random colored liquid is off-putting. I don't understand all of this. What is the need for this? I mean, it's probably alluding to the main character's germophobia or something like that, but it is still not my thing. Citrus Volume 7. This is the latest volume of Citrus that is currently out. I'm nearly up to date as far as reading goes. I have to hand it to 7 Seas for popping the series out really fast. It's like every time I turn around, next volume, here we go. And it already has an anime that's currently playing on Crunchyroll. So if you're interested in seeing this animated, I definitely check it out. I've seen several of the animation. It's really cool. I've always found it interesting how anime coloring and manga coloring are similar and sometimes different from how you would imagine them normally to have, like their hair color, their eye color, and just the different ways that manga artists and anime artists draw them. Alright, this next one is Feburary on Nimbus 1. I can't wait to read this. Feburary was actually one of the first few animes that I watched that had fan service that I didn't mind. The main character is very refreshing and generally likable, and I really enjoy the overall plot and the cast of characters. I'm looking forward to seeing the differences and similarities of the two. Alright, this next one is Yokai Girls Volume 1. If you haven't noticed by now, I've gotten several new series. It wasn't originally supposed to be that kind of haul, but I blame the publishing companies with coming out with so many anticipated new series. Already, the title caught me, but what really sold me was the art upon flipping through this. The next ones are Yona the Dawn 3 and 4. I'm really loving this series so far. I'm a stickler for historical fantasy, and thus far, Yona has delivered. Originally, the only other work by Mizuho Kusanagi that I have read was Mugen Spiral, which is a 2-shot manga. So I was surprised when I learned that she was the one who created Yona. The third volume actually came from Amazon, but I decided to include it with my Books A Million haul. And apparently I didn't announce that it was time to move on to Books A Million, so we're on Books A Million now. I actually had the third replaced because it was delivered a day earlier to the UPS facility. It's been raining a lot here, and for whatever reason, it was delivered early to the UPS facility and left out in the rain. I was pretty miffed that they just delivered the package as is instead of letting me know of the damages. Before I'd opened it, I assumed there was more than 2 items because the package was more weighted than expected. But when I opened it, it was so swelled with water. It was double the size it should have been. Amazon was quick to replace it and at the original price, which was quite amazing, really. It was around $3 or $4, and from a quick glance, it's still around that price for whoever's looking to grow their collection. Otome Mania Volume 1. I'm a huge fan of otome games, and I like manga about how things are made, so I was curious about this. Sadly, it's only 2 volumes, and I probably should have grabbed the second, so I could have completed it. But at the time, I had assumed it was an ongoing series. Seriously, these pixels are so cute. Next one is Kasai-san and Shortcake, another Yuri title and the third installment of the Kasai-san series. Funnily enough, until recently, I didn't notice that the number of the volume was on the front of the cover instead of the spine. So I was worried about buying them out of order, which I don't like to do if I can help it. The covers to these are always so colorful and cute. It's a refreshing read and seems very lighthearted thus far. The next one is the second volume of Yokai Rental Shop. I still haven't read the first, but I wanted to go ahead and grab the second because I really do believe that I'm going to love this series, and I can't believe how beautiful the covers are, especially the back cover. Like, seriously, like, look at this. The art is just so gorgeous. And now we're on to Dead Man Wonderland Volume 4. As I've stated, it's one of my favorite series. Here I said I love the collaboration between these two. It's such a thrilling and engaging series. I'm likely going to have to complete the rest of the series via Amazon. My Books A Million does not really keep these volumes in stock as they used to. Before, I could like nearly find all of them, and at the time I just wasn't buying them. And then little by little I started collecting it, and of course the volumes diminished. I'm guessing because, you know, they needed to make more room for the newer series that were more popular. And really I don't mind because most of the time I can get these for cheap on Amazon. Here we go again with another BL title. This is also by Iki Iki, and it's the one I mentioned earlier, Love Stage. And it's the fourth installment. Along with Iki Iki is also Taishi Zhao. I think they do almost every collaboration together, like one writes and the other draws. Nearly most of the stuff that I have read, Taishi Zhao has been on there as well. And I'm constantly entertained when I read this. It's very amusing overall, and I love Izumi's interactions with Rei. It's just hilarious. Rei is just, he makes the series as well. And I really hope that they end up translating, if they haven't already, the spin-off series with Rei and Izumi's brother, because yes. Alright, next is The Water Dragon's Bride Volume 4. Oh my gosh, there's so much manga. I've literally put off making this video because there's so many manga, and I do have big hauls, but don't usually do 30 plus volumes, so this is why it's nearly the end of March, and here I am putting out this one for February. Anyway, I recently read the first volume of the series and I loved it. It doesn't pull any punches at all. Not the darkest story I've read, but it did surprise me by being heavier than expected. And here I go again about raving about the art, but seriously, it's so gorgeous. Each cover blows me away with how vibrant they are, and I love blue, and they really bring out the blue in these covers. Just like blue everywhere. Yes, blue. And just the way they do her hair, and it's just so seamless, and I love it. The final few volumes. Great. These next ones are Black Clover, volumes 4 through 8. So 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. For whatever reason, this series gets a lot of flack for being a lot like Naruto, Fairy Tail, and a lot of other big name titles. Sure, there are similarities, which I feel is to be expected from most shonen titles, but I don't feel that's always necessarily a bad thing. I like seeing different authors take on the same genre and make it their own. Personally, in the way of the Naruto comparison, there are key differences. Both Asta and Naruto are certainly both underdog characters, and they're both very loud. Even more so, you can hear it in the anime, because I can't stand Asta's voice. That's aside, that's my only critique. But whereas Naruto didn't really have many people looking out for him in the beginning, Asta had a close-knit group of family. The only thing that is my favorite about the series are the relationships Asta forms with the people around him, especially Yuno, who, unlike Sasuke, doesn't feel that he is superior to Asta. He treats him as an equal despite the fact that, save for his family, everyone else just looks down on him and underestimates him. All that aside, I'm a big fan of rough and tumble characters. They have always attracted my attention, and I normally have a huge spot for them, which you see that with his guild, because they are so rough and tumble and just crazy, and it's fun. I'd like to implore anyone who is having doubts about the series, just because it's mainstream and it's got similarities to certain other shonen titles, just to give it a go. If possible, go in without comparing it to other series, and focus on the characters and what is unfolding around them. Okay, and done. If you've stuck with me until the end, rambling and all, thank you so much. If you've liked this video, please subscribe. Comments and questions are always welcome. See you next time!